There are people who are scared to come to church if everybody doesn't wear a mask. Last Sunday, I didn't wear a mask, and my pastor told me twice that I should. I'd like to go somewhere else, but that would mean that I'd have to move. I really like my studies and would like to finish them. I will graduate with no debt and will easily get a job. Right now, it would be difficult for me to find a job, at least one where I don't work on Sundays. Any words of wisdom? Yeah, stop going to that church. And if you can't find another church, find sermons you can listen to. Mine are free. You can listen to them on podcast. Look for the podcast Saved, and you can hear them. But don't just do mine. Like, because you're not getting to the Lord's Supper, like, overdose on sermons. Get Wolfmueller sermons. Get as many sermons. Rhodey out in California. Get as many sermons as you can get, and just all week long pound yourself with the Word of God. Put Issues Etc. Radio, Lutheran Talk Radio, and Pirate Christian Radio on loop in your world. Right? Just pound yourself with the Word of God and finish your degree, and then start looking. Where are you going to move? Hey, Rockford's not a bad spot. Not a bad spot. But what you got to do is protect your conscience. And if you're honestly being assaulted, let me put it this way: Kuntz is going to answer this on Thursday better than I do right now. This coming Thursday's show. If your conscience is being bound by things that are not in the Bible, that is, they are commanding and telling you that you're not a good person if you don't do these things, but they are in fact not commanded by Jesus, then you need to stop going to that church. They've made a false gospel, a false law. And I look, a church that faithfully preaches Jesus risen from the dead and gives you the Lord's Supper, if you don't care about wearing a mask, go to that church. But if you care about it because you know of the health problems it causes, you know that it's a way that the false regime that is not constitutionally allowed to do this has manipulated us through businesses, and particularly Silicon Valley's management of information. And so this is basically fascism at work taking over our constitutional republic, and that's a problem to you, you're free to stop going to that church. You are free to realize that church is doing what German Lutherans did under the Nazis, which is ignore what's going on and hope it'll go away. And then they were often culpable, and often the first to be silenced as well. Yeah, all the way. So, if you don't want to participate in that, the tearing down of our country, then you don't have to. And I mean, how long is your degree left? 6 months? A year? 3 years? Can you transfer? It depending on your spacing here, but when the Jews were cast into the diaspora, it's not like they all had a faithful synagogue that day, right? Life is going to be filled with comings and goings. Your task is to get to a faithful church and to live at that altar with your family for the sake of your family being at a faithful altar. That doesn't mean today. It means set the path and take the steps that begin that journey. So that's my advice for you. If you can transfer and continue the workload, and that would take a year probably, then do that. Is it a sin? That's a good question. Is it a sin to not take the Lord's Supper every week? Well, it's tough for the LCMS to say that, isn't it now, given how many of our churches don't even offer it every week. But they would say you have to go get the Word of God every week. Okay. You're not saved by what you do. Jesus gives gifts that save you. Get the gifts. Get the gifts. What else could you do? Quarterly, every month, take a weekend, drive 6 hours, find a church that's within 6 hours, spend the $150 on the Airbnb. I know it's like, but I'm going to be in debt then. Well, don't go into debt if you can help it. Call the pastor. See if they can put you up. You can sleep on the pew. Go get the supper once a month, once a quarter, and then go back to where you are. Get yourself connected to a place where you can be fed, and get fed, and then do your task, right? You're on a journey. You're on a quest. You're in an ordeal. You must overcome the ordeal. Do not abandon your God in the ordeal. And that's actually what you're being challenged by here, isn't it now? Because you feel to go against your conscience would be to abandon God. Does that mean the pastor who's putting the mask on people is abandoning God? I'm not going to say that. I can't say that. So whoever's out there, just don't attack me for that, okay? This is someone's conscience is being bound, and he should not be bound. The pastor should say, oh, you don't want to wear a mask? Okay. Oh, you want to wear a mask? Okay. Because the Bible doesn't say nothing about wearing masks, and it certainly doesn't prescribe we have to keep everyone healthy always, forever, or else we're not Christians. And if you are teaching that, who told you to teach that? Don't run without being sent.